What's going on, brothers? Would you like me to tell you the name? Got that video for you. It's written title, Male Spaces, Part 2. Here goes. So this is a continuation of the video I did a year ago where I was discussing male retreats, male spaces, and how nowadays a lot of them have been infiltrated, but there's still a few around. So check this out. So for the past few years, a lot of these femcells, a lot of these troughs and ditch pigs have been complaining. They're angry and they're frustrated that their spaces are being infiltrated by trans women. They're angry about that. And some of them have put out YouTube channels where they were discussing male spaces. They're talking about the barbershop. They're talking about camping trips. You know, places where young men typically congregated. And they were explaining how it's unfair that those men in the past didn't have to worry about trans women invading their spaces. And so I got to say, well, what you're going through is just tough shit. You got what you voted for. You hear? They pushed for 55 years and got in bed with the alphabet soup community, and this is the end result. The trans women have invaded these women's spaces and ate their lunch. But they want us to put on the armor, break out the broadsword, and come defend them from the very same trans women that infiltrated their space and ate their lunch. And that makes me laugh. It makes me laugh. Because these same individuals had no problem destroying and infiltrating these places, these spaces that they perceived as male only. Hell, they even went so far as to go into these hobbies that were considered men's spaces, but no one said that those hobbies were male only spaces. Video games didn't have a gender attached to it, but because these femcells and these ditch pigs are full of greed, envy, murder, and debate, they set out to ruin these hobbies and ruin these spaces. And now the chickens have come on the roost. These trans women are eating their lunch and they can't do shit about it. But we're supposed to defend them, right? Right? Let me tell you something. The very first male space in these urban areas was actually the pool hall. You hear what I said, brothers? The very first male space in these urban areas was the pool hall. Then the barbershop. And then these gyms, boxing gyms. This is typically where young men and old men could improve their technique. And then you had saloons. Some guys went there to monger, some guys went there to drink. And then you had fraternities. And today, we have country clubs. Clubs that are members only. Places that are still male only spaces. Places that these troughs, these femcells can't reach. They're still out there. You just gotta look for them. You gotta look hard because the men who have deep pockets, the men who want their salt, they're very protective about those spaces. You see, because they got these troughs number, they got their playbook. You see, they saw these comment sections in these chat rooms where these trollops admitted to going into these places specifically to ruin them. One of them even said, it's important that we enter these spaces because that's the only way we're going to get insider information. They said that. But while they were too busy ruining our spaces, their spaces were getting infiltrated. Now the lunch is being eaten. And they had no one to blame for this but themselves. There was a time when the dojo was a male-only space. There was a time where these deep-sea fishing vessels were male-only spaces. But nowadays, since a lot of men are pulling back, they're not going to college, you have more trollops who are hell-bent on going where the men are. And for the ones who are trying to enter the trades where a lot of these young men are going, it's not going to do them any favors, because in these trades, you actually have to do the fucking work. You have to roll up your sleeves and do the work. You're not going to go into these trades to look for a husband or to cry wolf and do your dirt. Because if you go there to do that, then your ass get fired. It's very straightforward. If you don't work, you get put out. Those are the trades. But yeah, the fact that we live in the Galaxy Twilight Zone, and the fact that these tribes went above and beyond to infiltrate and ruin our spaces is proof positive that we need our spaces. We need them. This is how alliances are built. Iron sharpens iron. Only a man can raise a boy to be a man. Not one of these overweight, broke single mothers who have an attitude problem. They can't do that. You can get mad all you want, but that's the truth. We need our spaces. And the harder these trolls, these ditch pigs fight to enter these spaces, the harder we're going to fight them to keep them private. And in case you're wondering, I've been part of those male-only spaces. They're still around. And we're the reasons why there are more bachelors nowadays than there were 20 years ago. And speaking of bachelors, check this out. In the late 1800s, the tribes back then had a problem with bachelors. They were angry with these young men who weren't lined up to get married, weren't lined up to have kids. And they even went so far as to push for legislation to punish bachelors simply for being bachelors. They did that. In 1890, in the U.S., they took a census. And they estimated that 61% of the male population between the ages of 15 to 34 were bachelors. Oh, and in case you think I'm making this shit up, here's your answer. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. You see, the one thing that these femicels always hate about bachelors is that bachelors could actually hold on to their money. They didn't have a wife to take care of, they didn't have children to take care of. And a lot of these bachelors hung around these male spaces. And this is how they kept their pockets fed. One of the ways they did it. But for you brothers out there, the I see yours to hear, if you're serious about creating your own male-only retreats, male-only spaces. Go for it. What's stopping you? I mean, after all, these femcels, these tribes, they can't reach you if they don't know where you are. They can't do it. Lead by example. That's my advice to you. This is L.O.M Mgtow. That's all I got for you. If you like the video, like the badass here in the commentary, feel free to subscribe. If you want to donate, visit my channel. You find a tip jar on the upper right inside the screen. That's your icon. Alright, fam. Alright, brethren. You know the drill, you know routine. Go your own way, live your own way. SYSPM. Happy Passover. And as for these ditch pigs, these bitch-made simps, and those that probably say, I always say it, give them nothing. This is Mgtow PSA. Welcome state. See you soon.